What's your emergency?
There's a car crash on Highway 93 near the Riverside exit. Single vehicle, flipped over. I can see someone inside. They're not moving.
Is the car smoking? Any fire?
Yeah, smoke's coming from the hood. It could explode. Please hurry.
Fire and paramedics are on the way. Stay back from the vehicle.
Okay, please hurry.
That day, everything was normal. I was driving to work in the morning, my favorite song was playing on the radio, and I was singing along. The window was open, the October air was cool but sunny, and I was thinking about weekend plans. We were going to meet up with friends, have some drinks, just the usual things. Everything felt ordinary, the same routine as every day. Leaving home at 8:30, getting on Highway 93, arriving at the office 25 minutes later. Nothing was different, no sign that something terrible was about to happen. I was 28, healthy, my life was on track. And 15 minutes later, everything would change. In a single second, my life would turn into hell, and nothing would ever be the same again. When I got onto Highway 93, traffic was normal, moving smoothly. I was in the middle lane, driving around 65 miles per hour, following the speed limit. The news came on the radio. I changed the channel. I wanted music. And just then, a truck came from the right side, from the next lane, heading straight toward me. It was fast, and too close. I heard the screech of brakes. Mine. It was instinct. I had slammed the pedal, but it was too late. The truck hit the right side of my car. The car spun, I lost control, and everything slowed down, yet felt impossibly fast at the same time. I saw every detail of what was happening, second by second, but my body couldn't react. The car kept spinning. The truck was still pushing me, and then we hit the guardrail. A loud metallic crash filled my ears, and the car began to roll. Once, twice. And I was inside, trapped. The seatbelt held me, but with every rotation my body was thrown around. My head hit something, my arm hit something, and then it stopped. The car was upside down, roof crushed against the asphalt, and I was hanging from the seatbelt, upside down. There were a few seconds of total silence, pure silence, and I thought, am I dead? Is this death? But then the pain came. The pain from my abdomen, sharp and burning. I looked down, or rather up, since I was upside down, and I saw it. The steering wheel was pressed into my stomach. Metal and plastic shards were lodged in my skin, and there was blood. So much blood. Panic took over. I tried to scream, but no sound came out, just a choking noise. And I thought, this is it. I'm dying here. 28 years old in a car crash on a highway. No one knows. My mom doesn't know. My friends don't know. Maybe they'll find me hours later. I don't know how long I waited. Maybe 2 minutes, maybe 10. But then I heard sounds. Car engines, brakes, people shouting. Someone yelled, "Oh my God!" And then came the sound of running footsteps. A face appeared at the window, an older man, his eyes wide with shock. "Can you hear me?" he shouted, and I tried to nod. I couldn't move much, but I think he saw it because he turned and yelled, "She's alive! Call 911. I heard voices, the sound of phones, people talking fast. "Highway 93, Riverside exit," they said. "Flipped over, someone's trapped inside." I was listening, thinking, please hurry, because the pain in my stomach was getting worse, breathing was harder, and there was a smell. Burning. Plastic. Maybe gasoline. I couldn't tell, but it was awful. "Can you move?" the man asked. I tried to move my arms, but my right arm hurt, badly. My legs were stuck somewhere. I couldn't see them, but I could feel it. They were crushed. "Don't move," the man said. "Help is coming. Just stay still." So I stayed there, hanging upside down, the seatbelt cutting into my shoulder, the steering wheel pressed deep into my stomach, blood dripping from the ceiling to the floor or from the floor to the ceiling, since I was upside down. Every drop sounded like a warning in my head. "You're losing blood. You're dying. Hurry." Then I heard sirens. First faint, then louder. Fire trucks arrived, big red lights flashing, turning the whole wreck bright. Men ran toward me, uniforms, helmets, tools. One looked through the broken window and said, "Ma'am, we're gonna get you out." His voice was calm, professional, but I could see worry in his eyes, like he knew it was bad. They tried to open the door, but it was crushed, jammed. "Get the jaws of life!" someone yelled. They brought a huge tool, metal cutters, and when it started, the noise was deafening. But I didn't care. I just wanted out. They cut the door open, pulled the metal apart, and crawled inside. Someone put something around my neck. A collar. "We need to stabilize your neck," they said. Then they were about to cut the seatbelt. But someone shouted, "Wait! The steering wheel is impaled in her abdomen. If we cut the belt, she'll drop and it'll get worse." When I heard that, I understood. The steering wheel wasn't just pressed against me, it was inside me. If they cut me loose, it would go deeper. Maybe puncture an organ, maybe tear a blood vessel. They started planning, talking fast, making decisions. Then slowly, so slowly, they supported my body, cut the seatbelt, and lowered me. Millimeter by millimeter, careful not to move the steering wheel. The pain was unbearable. I thought I would pass out, but I didn't. I stayed awake. I felt everything. They laid me on a stretcher, on my side, carefully, because the steering wheel was still in my stomach, metal still sticking out of me. "Don't remove it," said one of the paramedics. "If we pull it out, she'll bleed out in seconds." They lifted me into the ambulance. The doors closed, the siren started, and we moved. I remember the inside of the ambulance only in fragments, because I was drifting in and out of consciousness. Sometimes my eyes were open, sometimes they closed. There was a paramedic beside me, actually two of them, a man and a woman, and the woman kept talking to me. "Sarah, stay with me. What's your name?" And I whispered, "Sarah." My voice was barely there. "Good. How old are you?" she asked. And I said, 28. "Perfect, you're doing great," she said. But I wasn't. I wasn't doing great. I was dying. Breathing hurt. Every breath made my stomach burn, and I was freezing, my body shaking uncontrollably. They stuck needles into both my arms, IV lines, and started pumping fluids. The woman told the male paramedic, "BP dropping, 85/50, and he grabbed the radio, his voice tense. "Dispatch, this is Unit 7. We have a critical trauma patient. ETA 8 minutes. We need a trauma team ready. Possible intra-abdominal hemorrhage. Penetrating injury from steering wheel. Patient is conscious but deteriorating." I heard those words. Critical, deteriorating. And I knew what they meant. I was dying. Every turn, every bump on the road made the pain worse. I could feel the metal shifting inside me, scraping against something, maybe bone, maybe muscle. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't. The female paramedic held my hand and said, "I know it hurts, I know, but we're almost there. Hang on for me." And I started crying, tears rolling down my cheeks. "I don't want to die," I said, and she replied, "You're not gonna die." But there was no confidence in her voice. She didn't know either. My eyes started closing. I was so tired. And she shouted, "Sarah, open your eyes." I forced them open. "Talk to me." "Who should we call?" "Family," she asked. "My mom," I said. "Boston. Phone's in my purse. We'll call her, don't worry," she said. But I did worry. I imagined my mom getting that call, hearing hospital, panicking, terrified, maybe about to lose her daughter. The ambulance stopped. The doors swung open. The lights outside were blinding. There were so many people waiting, doctors, nurses, all ready. They pulled the stretcher out and started running. I could hear voices, urgent, professional. 28-year-old female, motor vehicle collision, penetrating abdominal trauma, steering wheel impalement, BP 80/45, heart rate 125, GCS 14. I was listening, trying to understand, but I was fading fast. My eyelids were heavy, and the last thing I heard before everything went black was, "Get her to OR now! She's bleeding out!" I remember the trauma room in fragments. Bright lights, painfully bright, people rushing everywhere, hands all over me. They were cutting my clothes, attaching monitors, shouting orders. There were so many voices, overlapping, chaotic. Blood pressure dropping. Heart rate 140. Free fluid detected. Medical terms I didn't fully understand, but I understood the tone, urgent, worried, afraid. Then a face appeared above me. A man, maybe in his 40s, glasses, serious eyes. "Sarah, I'm Dr. Harrison," he said firmly. "We're taking you to surgery to remove the metal object from your abdomen. But first, I need to ask you a few questions. Any allergies?" I shook my head. "Any previous surgeries?" he asked. "Tonsils. When I was a kid," I whispered. "Good. Anything else?" "No." "Perfect," he said quickly, then turned to someone else. "Type and cross-match. 4 units O negative ready. Call the OR. Tell them we're coming now." Something cold touched my stomach. Gel. And then an ultrasound probe slid over it. They all stared at the screen, their faces tightening. Significant free fluid, likely splenic or hepatic injury, maybe vascular, Dr. Harrison said. I didn't know what that meant, but I could tell from his voice it was bad. The stretcher started moving, fast. The ceiling lights blurred past one by one, so bright they hurt my eyes. A nurse ran beside me, holding my hand, saying softly, "You're gonna be okay, Sarah. We're taking good care of you." But I didn't believe her. I was terrified. I was about to have real surgery for the first time in my life, and I wasn't sure I would wake up again. We reached the operating room doors. They swung open and a rush of freezing air hit me. It was cold, so cold, and the light was harsh, white, blinding. The room was full of people in green scrubs and masks. The surgical lamps above me glared like suns, and rows of shiny steel instruments caught the light. They moved me onto the operating table slowly, carefully, making sure the metal rod in my abdomen didn't shift. The table was hard and cold. They attached new monitors, wrapped cuffs around my arm, stuck electrodes to my chest, opened another IV line into my neck. "Central line," someone said. It hurt, but it was nothing compared to the pain in my stomach. Then another doctor appeared. A young woman, eyes kind but tense behind her mask. "Hi, Sarah. I'm Dr. Kim, your anesthesiologist," she said softly. "I'm going to help you fall asleep now. I'll put a mask on your face to give you oxygen, then some medicine through your IV. You won't feel or remember anything. When you wake up, it'll all be over." I nodded weakly. "I'm scared," I whispered. "I know," Dr. Kim said gently. "But you're strong. We're here. We'll take care of you." The mask came down over my face. Cool, damp oxygen filled my lungs. "Okay, Sarah," she said. "Count back from 10 for me. 10, 9, 8, I said. The medicine entered my vein, a cold rush that spread through my arm. 7, 6, my eyelids felt heavy. 5, I thought, please, just let me sleep. Let this pain stop. 4, and then everything went dark. The first thing I felt was cold, a deep, cutting cold. And I thought, where am I? What's happening? I tried to open my eyes, but they wouldn't move. They felt glued shut, impossibly heavy. Then I heard a voice. "Scalpel," someone said, followed by the metallic scrape of instruments. "They've started the surgery." I thought, good, I'm asleep. I can't feel anything. But then another thought crept in. Wait, if I'm asleep, why can I hear them? Why can I think? I tried again to open my eyes, pushing with everything I had, and they fluttered. Just barely. The light was blinding. I could make out shapes, shadows, people moving. And then I felt something. A pressure, a pull. Deep in my abdomen. And pain. Not sharp at first, just wrong, unnatural, then sharper, spreading, cutting through me. And that's when I understood. I wasn't asleep. I was awake. I had woken up in the middle of surgery. I tried to move. I tried to lift my arm, my hand, anything. Nothing moved. My body was frozen, heavy as stone. My mind screamed, but my limbs didn't answer. The anesthesia had paralyzed me, but not my mind. I tried to shout, "Stop! I'm awake! Please, stop!" But no sound came out. I couldn't move my lips, my tongue. I felt the tube in my throat. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe on my own. I tried to close my eyes to escape, but even that was impossible. They stayed half open, fixed, watching. Dr. Harrison leaned over me. I could see his eyes above the mask. Calm, focused. Good, she's stable. Let's proceed. He picked up a shining metal instrument. lowered it toward my abdomen, and began to pull. He was removing the steering wheel fragment, slow and careful. The pain was unbearable. It ripped through me like fire, tearing from the inside. I screamed inside my head, "Stop! Please, stop!" But outside, I was silent, bleeding from the liver. "Pack it," Dr. Harrison said, and I felt the hands pressing into me, stuffing gauze deep into the wound. The pain multiplied. I thought I would pass out, but I didn't. I stayed trapped, alive and silent. "Suction," he said, and I heard the machine start. I could feel it pulling, the wet vibration inside my body as they suctioned blood. I cried, but no tears came. Even my tear ducts were paralyzed. "BP dropping again, 70/40, said Dr. Kim, the anesthesiologist. "Give her another unit. Push phenylephrine," Dr. Harrison answered. I felt the cold liquid rush through my veins, then warmth spread. My heart raced faster. Maybe they'll notice, I thought desperately. My heart's racing. Maybe they'll realize I'm awake. But they didn't. "Good, she's responding," Dr. Kim said calmly. And they kept going. Time stopped meaning anything. There was only pain, endless, suffocating pain. And voices. Clamp, suture, bovie. Each word was followed by another sensation, another stab, another tear. I screamed over and over inside my head. "Stop! Please, stop! I'm here! I'm awake!" But no one heard me. And then came the worst part, their conversation. Their calm, ordinary conversation. "Liver laceration repaired, spleen looks intact. Let's check the bowel," Dr. Harrison said. Another voice, a nurse. "Did you go to Starbucks this morning?" "No," he said. "Didn't have time. They were talking about coffee." Coffee, while I lay there, awake, cut open, dying. The pain shifted then, not gone, but distant, duller, fading. Maybe shock, maybe blood loss. My vision blurred, the light dimmed at the edges. The sounds became muffled, as if underwater. I felt myself slipping, and for the first time, I welcomed it. Maybe I'm dying, I thought. Maybe this is it. Maybe it's finally over. And as the darkness spread and swallowed the room, my last thought was, it's finally ending. The second time I woke up, it was different. Really waking up this time. My eyes opened, heavy but open, and I saw a ceiling. White, unfamiliar. Not the operating room ceiling. I moved my finger, just one, my left index finger, and I cried from relief. I could move again. Then I heard a voice. "Sarah! Sarah, can you hear me?" It was a nurse, an older woman, kind face, gentle voice. "Yes," I croaked. My throat burned. The breathing tube had left it raw. But I could speak. "Where am I?" I asked. "You're in recovery," she said softly. "The surgery's over." "You did great surgery," I whispered, and then everything came rushing back. The noise, the light, the pain, the coffee conversation, the helplessness. I started crying uncontrollably. The nurse held my hand. "It's okay, you're safe now," she said. But I didn't feel safe. "I was awake," I said. "During surgery." I was awake. I felt everything. The nurse's expression shifted. Surprise, confusion. "No, honey," she said gently. "That's not possible. You were under anesthesia." "No," I shouted, voice cracking. I was awake. I heard everything. Dr. Harrison said, "Liver laceration." Someone talked about Starbucks. I felt the pain. I tried to scream, but I couldn't move. She stared at me for a long moment, then said, "Let me get the doctor," and left. I was alone again, shaking and sobbing. They won't believe me, I thought. They'll say it was a dream, a hallucination, a side effect of anesthesia. But I knew the truth. It had happened. I had lived every second of it. Dr. Kim, the anesthesiologist, came in. She sat down beside my bed. "Sarah," she said quietly, "the nurse told me you said you woke up during surgery." "Yes," I said. "I remember everything. I told her everything. What they said, what they did, how it felt, how I couldn't move, how I tried to scream." Her face grew serious. "Describe the pain," she said. I did. Sharp, tearing, pulling, burning. She wrote something down, then nodded slowly. "Sarah," she said, "what you experienced is rare, but real. It's called anesthesia awareness. It happens in maybe 1 or 2 out of every 1,000 surgeries. The body is paralyzed, but the brain isn't fully asleep." "Why me?" I asked, voice trembling. "Why did this happen?" "Sometimes it happens in emergency surgeries," she said softly. "You'd lost a lot of blood. Your blood pressure was dangerously low. We couldn't give you a full dose of anesthesia. It could have stopped your heart. We had to give less. Sometimes it's not enough." And I understood then. They were trying to save my life, and in doing so, they'd trapped me in my own body. "Will this happen again?" I asked. "If I ever need surgery again?" "No," Dr. Kim said firmly. "I'm marking your file. High risk for awareness. Next time we'll use additional monitoring. A BIS monitor. It tracks brain activity, shows us if you're awake. It won't happen again, but the damage is done," I whispered. "I can't forget it. Every time I close my eyes, I see the lights. I hear their voices. I feel that pain again." Dr. Kim took my hand. "I know," she said. "It's trauma. You might develop PTSD. You should talk to someone, a therapist. It wasn't your fault, and it wasn't ours either. It was an awful accident, but it didn't feel like an accident. It felt like punishment, like fate, like something cruel and deliberate." I stayed in the hospital 4 more days. Physically, I healed. The incision closed, the pain faded, but my mind didn't. Every night, I woke up screaming, drenched in sweat, seeing those surgical lights, hearing those calm voices. The nurses said, "You're safe now," but I knew they were wrong. I would never feel safe again. It's been 6 months now, and I'm still in therapy, twice a week. For PTSD, I'm healing, slowly. But that day will never leave me. It lives in my mind like a scar. I still struggle to get into a car. I can't drive on Highway 93. Even seeing the exit sign makes my chest tighten. I take the long way everywhere. The thought of another surgery sends me into panic. What if I wake up again? I've read everything I could about anesthesia awareness. I joined support groups online. Thousands of people have lived through it. They all say the same thing. It's the worst thing that can happen to a human being. And they're right. Sometimes I think about that day, about the truck, the crash. What if it hadn't happened? Who would I be now? But it did, and I'm not the same person anymore. Nothing is the same. In therapy, I've learned something. Trauma doesn't define you. How you respond to it does. So I chose to fight. I chose to live. And every day, I'm a little stronger. Before the surgery, I never really thought about death. Now every morning, I wake up and I'm grateful. Grateful that I can breathe, that I can see the light, that I'm alive. Because that day I should have died, but I didn't.